Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Flash number 1. This is the first of the second wave books of the Absolute Universe over at DC Comics. This is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Nick Robles, Adriano Lucas, on colors, letters by Tom Napolitano. In this book, Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles kick into speed for the Absolute Universe without the mentor, without the family, without the Speed Force. What is left is the absolute Scarlet Speedster. Um, I was very excited for this book for a few different reasons. One of those being that I am big fan of this creative team, Jeff Lemire. I love a lot of his work. And Nick Robles is an artist that just can make something just pop right out of the page. Um, it is incredible stuff. Yeah, so I was very excited for this creative team, and let me tell you, this book is great. Another great entry into the world of this absolute world that DC has created. I really love the idea of this young Wally West, which there's we see both Wally and Barry Allen in this book, but we are our main protagonist is Wally. He's a young kid, around 15, if I'm not mistaken, and he has a very interesting life. He lives on an army base. He's a little bit of an outcast, and I think he's still trying to find this place. I love the idea of him being a teenager because that gives us like this. This really cool thing to kind of project onto her. So like just that wish fulfillment of like, what if I had been a kid and these powers came onto me, right? But as this book goes on, maybe not everything is cool and not everything is as good as it may seem for a kid who has powers. One of the things that really stands out to me is Nick Robles' art, how dynamic it is, how fluid, and how exciting it gets, especially because the Flash is a character that needs that fluidity in the work, that needs all those really cool looks. And of course, we have some villains, some regular Flash rogues that have been remolded into this world, and we also have a lot of characters that you may recognize, a lot of ideas that feel very similar to the Flash, but it's all in its own new place. So I really enjoyed this one. I got to read it a couple of weeks ago, and then I read it again for the review. And let me tell you, I could probably read it a couple more times and just enjoy all the little things here. Specifically, when Wally's using his powers, I think it's very fun. The way that it looks on the page, I think Nick Robles does an absolute fantastic job with that. No pun intended, I guess. You'll see some of that artwork flash here throughout the video. Once again, no pun intended. But yeah, it was really great. I'm very excited to see where this goes. This is part one of the of two world story. So there's definitely a lot more stuff that this team has planned for the book, and I'm very excited. So hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Batman number 6. This is the finale for the Zoo, the first arc in this Absolute Batman series. Let's talk about the creative team. This is written by Scott Snyder with art by Nick Dracota, colors by Frank Martin, letters by Clayton Cowell. We also have a mini plethora of covers, as you have been seeing. But man, oh man, it is just so easy for me to pick up the main cover. Nick Dragota's been doing such a good job with those covers. In this book, we have Bruce Wayne, a young man who has built his entire life on leveling up and becoming a bigger man than both his enemies and the obstacles that stand in his way. Will have to break down the Black Mask and his gang of party animals. Will he be able to do this without help of his unlikely new MI6 ally Alfred Pennyworth? And how do his childhood friends Edward Nigma, Waylon Jones, Harvey Dent, and Oswald Cobblepot, amongst others, play a crucial role in Batman's legacy as Gotham's vigilante? This is the end of the first arc, and it introduces a few more items and few more elements that you will be seeing in the second arc of this book. This is a great way to close out the show. There is a page here that Nick Dragotta drew, and is one of the first few pages. So you'll be seeing it when the preview art hits. and it's just a page of Bruce as a kid taking a picture with his friends. All the people I just mentioned, right? Harvey, Ed, Cobblepot, Waylon Jones, Selena, and it is just like it feels to me like just Bruce at maybe his happiest he's ever been, and this all obviously takes place before the horrible events of issue number one. But I love the idea that now Bruce is going to have to rely on these friends throughout this issue because he knows he can't do this alone. He can't take on the party animals all by himself. Alfred has pretty much given up on helping him for now, at least. And I really love that. I love what Scott Snyder is doing is just adding layers of heart and adding, even though he has taken a lot of things from away from Batman, right? His money, his influence, the Batcave, like all the cool stuff that you have being Batman in the regular universe. I think he's given him so much more in this world where he still has his mom, where he still has friends, where he has people that he can rely on, and not that not that normal Bruce Wayne or regular universe Bruce Wayne doesn't have that support system, but I don't think he has it like this with people that he's grown up since his childhood, and that is just such an amazing idea that Bruce has this family that he's kind of grown up with, and there are some really great moments here between him and his mom that you could never have explored in any other story of about Bruce Wayne and the Batman. Once again, Nick Dragotta's art just absolute tops. There are some panels where he makes this Batman look just so menacing, built like a tank, and just the action sequences as he starts taking on the party animals and moving along with his plan are great. But what I really love is the flashbacks to a younger Bruce remembering the time with his mom, with his friends at a sleepover, and just the exploration of all that. I love that all the flashbacks have this like kind of a little bit of a gray tint, not a gray tint, but just like a little layer of like, here's a flashback. The coloring changes dramatically and drastically, so that you know that it is that you know that it is a flashback. Um, but I think the other thing that I love about this Batman is that while he is in the middle, on the thick of things, he is ruthless. Nothing is going to stop him from this mission and from completing his mission. So I'm so on board with this series. It is crazy how much this absolute universe has redefined what I want to read in some of these stories because I'd like the idea that this Batman can just really be so much different than the one that I already love. So, of course, there's a lot of really fun surprises and setups and seeds for a lot of things coming up soon. There's a little bit of like a page that's an epilogue, and then also you get a preview of the upcoming Martian Manhunter, Absolute Martian Manhunter. So, great idea to pick up this book, close out the first arc. Hopefully, this means that there's a collection of this soon as well, which I can't wait to see. So very excited for all that. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be reviewing DC Comics Detective Comics 1095. This is a new book from DC Comics. This is part 6 of the Mercy of the Father storyline. This book is written by Tom Taylor with art, colors, and a cover by Mikhail Janin. Norm Rapman has some inks assist, and Alex Gumaris with some color assist as well. Wes Abbott on letters and then a few really cool variant covers that you'll see all throughout. In this book, Asma's bloody reign of terror continues. Batman has employed the full force of the Bat family to uncover the mystery of the murders that continue across Gotham. But even Batman's most trusted allies have failed at preventing the deaths of the young man at the hands of the bloodthirsty Asma. But who is Asma? As the world's greatest detective unravels the mystery, he realizes he may not want to know the answer. Uh, I have really been enjoying this story, and I just really loved what Batman's been doing, or what Tom Taylor's been doing with the team here. It's been great. I think that it's a really fun mystery. Maybe it seems like it's very straightforward, but there's so many twists and turns, right? It's a it's a story that really puts Batman in the detective seat as much as he does in, the regular Batman action fighting scene. We know that this Batman is conflicted. This Bruce Wayne himself is conflicted. We actually see a lot of Bruce in this issue, and really throughout the arc. Like we see Batman without the cowl for a lot, and I really enjoy stories that really play on both characters. Batman has a lot of unresolved conflicts in his mind, and then everything that this story is kind of bringing to the surface, all the past that's bubbling up, from the things that his father may have done in the past, from the things that people around him may have done in the past, and people that have hurt him. That kind of resurfaces. So with this story of Asma and these teens that are going missing, and then the nefarious purpose for which they are, and then just when Batman feels like he's out of a support system, there are two really important people that show up in this issue. One of them is Superman introduced in a really, well, actually, it's Clark Kent, but he's introduced in a really fun sequence. You'll probably see that across some of the preview pages that we have. But the other is Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who has always been there. I feel like she's one of the forces that grounds Batman. And there's a few pages in here where the relationship, it is proven how strong of a support she really is for Batman and for Bruce, really, not so much for Batman. But then, of course, the mystery continues to unravel. I feel like this story is going to be a little bit longer than I anticipated. There's some really fun things with the Penguin and Savage interacting as a crime lord and commissioner of the city. Of course, Mikhail Janin's art is fantastic. Specifically, that sequence that I was talking about with the Penguin, it's got a really interesting coloring compared to the rest of the book. And then, of course, there is something special about the way Mikhail Janin draws Superman. He just looks like he's built like a rock. He's built like it's a fantastic approach to the character. So I always love to see a Superman drawn by Janine. So I really enjoy this issue. I'm really enjoying the series as well. I'm a big Tom Taylor fan, so it makes sense that I would just kind of eat all this stuff up. It's very very fun. It's really good, and like I said, I'm enjoying the mystery and the detective story aspect of all this. So hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for DC Sonic the Hedgehog #1. This is a new crossover book between DC Comics and Sega. It's man, before I get to talk about it, let's talk about the creative team. This is written by Ian Flynn with art by Adam Bryce Thomas, Matt Herms on colors, letters by Becca Carey, main cover by Pablo Collar. There's a few other covers that you'll see here, because why would you not make like all the covers for this crossover? In this issue, you got to go flash fast. It's a crossover event unlike any other. The monstrous Darkseid crosses dimensions to invade the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, seeking the ultimate power. Sonic and his friends have faced everything from mad scientists to ancient spirits, but the forces of Apocalypse may be too much for them. Thankfully, the full heroic might of the Justice League arrives to back them up. Do not miss part one of this unique crossover event. I'll start with this. I love the art. Adam Bryce Thomas does such a really cool job focusing on making, because we are visiting Sonic's dimension, let's make sure to make like everything look like it belongs in Sonic's dimension. So when the Justice League crossover, when Darkseid crosses over, like they retain a lot of the familiar looks that you're used to, but the interaction with the universe definitely feels like we are in the world of Sonic, right? Um, I don't know much of the deep lore about Sonic. The main things I'm familiar with is with the stuff that the recent movies have presented. But we see here more characters. I mean, you can see it in the cover, and you'll see it in some of the preview pages. I think watching Sonic and the gang fight parademons, it's something that I never could have imagined. But then also the appearance of the Justice League. I think that Flynn does such a good job with pairing up people or pairing up these characters in such a way that it just feels like yeah, they should be working together. uh I'm gonna slight spoiler here, my favorite pairing was Shadow working with Batman. Like, it is just so cool. Of course, the book is about Sonic, and Flash is probably the only character that could keep up with him. But yeah, as you go through the book, you'll see all the pairings. You'll see how much fun this is. This issue and this crossover is just all about let's have some fun. Let's throw out some crazy ideas. And I think the art really also reflects that. Like, let's just push it to the next level, and just show you the coolest things that we can on the page at every turn. I really, really enjoy this one. I didn't know what to expect from a crossover like this, but when you see the Sonic gang standing side by side with the Justice League, you'll be like, why had they not done this before? And maybe they had, and I just hadn't read it. But I'm glad they're doing it again if that's the case. Highly, highly recommend this book. It's gonna be hard to knock this one off the top of my most anticipated books for this week. We'll see once everything comes out. I haven't had a chance to read everything for this week, but man, oh man, it's a good one, and it's a really, really fun one. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman Superman World's Finest number 37. I can't believe how long this series has been going. Still with the same writer. I'm very, very excited. This is written by Mark Waid with Adrian Gutierrez on art, Matt Herms on colors, letters by Steve Wands. This is part 3 of the 20,000 League story, and this is kind of the conclusion of the story as well. We're going to start a new story on the next one. So, in this issue, the waves crash. Superman and Batman have a code against killing, but does the King of Atlantis, as the Floronic Man makes his final play for domination over the seas, Aquaman is forced to react as a warrior, not a superhero, and the consequences will surprise you. First of all, this cover is insane. Like, I will be straight up. You don't get to see Batman and Superman in these outfits, but I wish we had. Um, I'll start with the art. Adrian Gutierrez is so good at drawing like these weird Swamp Thing, Floronic Man designs. The underwater designs of Batman and Superman and Robin. Well, Superman is not wearing anything in particular, but Batman and Robin are wearing like the really cool, like diving suits. But yeah, the way that Gutierrez draws these fights, the conflict. There's a very interesting conversation between a few of these characters that feels very emotional, and Gutierrez just kind of zooms in a little bit on those panels. I would love to see if that's a direction from the script or if that's something just a choice that the artist made. But ultimately, this is all about taking down the Floronic Man. And man, oh man, when things get going, when things are happening, like this is just a crazy, crazy team up, right? Swamp Thing, Superman, Batman and Robin, Aquaman, and the people of Atlantis. Like what a crazy bonkers roster of a story. So I'm very glad that Mark Waid has found a way to just bring really weird, cool concepts. Also, I think everything happening underwater makes the story like it raises the stakes, right? Because Batman and Robin can't breathe underwater. I don't know what Superman does. I guess he can. I'm not sure. I guess depends on the story. Sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. But he's not wearing anything, so I don't know. And then the fact that Atlanteans use magic, and the Floronic Man has discovered this like this flora full of like Atlantean magic that makes Superman like this is how you just have to be real creative when you bring an obstacle for Superman. But it all works out in the end. Ultimately, this was a really fun kind of side story. But next, we are getting a little bit of a world's finest Justice League Unlimited crossover. Mark Waid, of course, writing both books. I don't know what that's gonna mean, but I'm pretty excited because I really like both of the books. World's Finest happened sometime in the past, so will the stuff that happens in the book have consequences in there, or will there be time travel involved? I don't know how deep the crossover is going to go, but I'm very excited nonetheless. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for One World Under Doom number 2. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. Chapter 2, The Free World, is written by Ryan North with art by RB Silva, David Curiel on colors, letters by Travis Lanham. Really cool cover, main cover by Ben Harvey. There's of course a plethora of covers that you can pick up. Uh, Also, in this issue, Doctor Doom has taken over the world, and Earth's mightiest heroes have failed twice. First to stop him, and now to overthrow him. But the Fantastic Four know Doom better than anyone, which makes them the ideal suit to take on Earth's new emperor. Except for the fact that he knows them just as well. As Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, and Sue and Johnny prepare to face down Doom at the United Nations, Doom pays a secret visit to speak to the only person on Earth who holds both his favor and his respect and his love. But can Valeria Richards change her uncle's mind? And if she fails, what will stop Doom from visiting a shocking fate on the Fantastic Four that not even he can undo? And as the Avengers reel from their losses, the course of the Marvel Universe will change and Marvel's first family won't be the same. Yeah, a lot happened in this issue, but it was very good. Like just action packed, 32 pages of story. I mean, maybe like 28 if you remove the ads, but yeah, just great storytelling. We begin with uh first of all, I love any time that we see Valeria and Doctor Doom. Just the relationship between those two. It's so entertaining because Valeria does command not command the respect, but she has earned for some reason the favor of Doom, right? She's his goddaughter, so they meet uh secretly. They definitely Valeria definitely doesn't tell her parents that she's meeting with Doom. And she really just lets him know, like straight up, Uncle, like I need to know why are you doing this? Doom gives her an explanation and just tells her like just believe in me. I'm doing this for a specific reason, and you'll see that this all makes sense eventually. In the meanwhile, yeah, the Fantastic Four are plotting, but I knew this was going to go bad from the beginning, but I didn't realize how this was going to play out, especially because of the cover. Like the cover tells you like, oh, there's something really interesting going to happen, but what that is, it's revealed later on in the issue. So I think Ryan North just really knows how to both navigate all these like really interesting subjects in this event because there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of opinion. There's a lot of like talk about how the government should be and how things should be happening in the world. Um, and then of course, like that just makes you think like, but Ryan North also approaches this from like giving you different opinions as to why people may feel a certain way, which I think is very interesting, right? It's very good to know why certain people feel the way they do and what motivates them to maybe even fall for the words of this Emperor Doom. So as comic readers, we know that Doom is probably in the wrong, but the way the Avengers and the Fantastic Four have been going, like it doesn't let me know that they are immediately in the right either. So, especially because of the choices that they make, there's a big reveal at the end of this episode. I think RB Silva is doing such a good job when it comes to these big bombastic sequences. We see the Fantastic Four take down uh, like some robbers, and in the meanwhile, we see the conversation between Doom and Valeria. So whether it's just this small conversation that it's really on a big grand scale. I think that RB Silva makes it very interesting by having the conversation take place in all this really interesting, like just all over the place, like all over the map, um, and also just including all these big surprises and this like whenever there's a big thing happening, there's a shock phase on the screen, and there's a big page for that in this one. And then, like I said, just as we get to the end of the issue, the fact that there's a big reveal at the end, it seems very very interesting and in a very twisted way that this story is going to go forward. So I'm very excited to see where this goes, and of course very excited to see how this world will change with Doom under its rule. I'm also looking forward to the next issue of Fantastic Four because I think that one will have big consequences and will explore consequences of something that happened in this issue. I think if you are reading one tie-in book, it should be the Fantastic Four because that's also written by Ryan North. So you definitely don't want to miss out on all the extra stuff that he's adding to this event, at least from the point of view of the Fantastic Four. So. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for G.I. Joe number 5. This is a new book from Image Skybound. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Tom Riley, Jordi Belair on colors, letters by Russ Wooten. In this book, G.I. Joe versus Cobra. G.I. Joe has suffered massive losses at the hand of Cobra, and now their backs are against the wall. Is this their last stand, and how far will the Joes go to stop Cobra's plans? Well, let me tell you, they're going to go very, very far. Um, if you remember from the last issue, Duke and the team, they've been caught by GI Joe, by Cobra, and they are on like a really really tough position. But there's still a few ways to maybe get out of it. And if anybody can figure it out, it is Duke and the GI Joes. Uh, I really enjoy this issue. I really like that at this point, Cobra Commander does not even really acknowledge the Joes as some kind of threat. I feel like this is the issue that kind of opens his eyes to like how dangerous it is to mess with Duke and his team, um, and because they fight back and they fight back very very well. Tom Riley gives us some really fun action sequences, some really violent beatdowns, but then of course just like this light show of amazing animated violence that we see here. It's really really fun. I love the idea that Cobra Commander is so focused on his plans that he's just leaving, kind of delegating all his responsibilities, and that may be his downfall. And then Tom Riley does such a really cool thing in this one where he has a few pages that to show how quick everything is happening, he really shrinks down the panel. So like we get like maybe 10 or 11 panels in one page of just like these little snippets of action, and those are very very fun. Like I wish I could, obviously I read this as a PDF for the review file, but I wish I could see this on like uh the guided view that you sometimes get, where it's like, you know, these pictures kind of popping out at each other and it feels almost animated. And in between each cut, there's a panel without any color or with very little color, that just makes it just makes it feel that much more gritty and violent and really really cool. Facial expressions, just everything works together. And of course, like I said, this leaves you in a really interesting place, where Cobra Commander maybe will know the error of his ways of not acknowledging how dangerous of a threat Duke and the team are. So hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Thundercats Lost number one. This is a new book from Dynamite Comics. This is written by Ed Brisson, who I had the pleasure of speaking with last week in anticipation for this release. You can go check out the full interview. We go very deep into Thundercats Lost and how this fits into the larger world of the Thundercats. And then we also talk about some of his other work, whether it's with Dynamite or some of the other publishers that he's worked with in the past. Ed Brisson's worked on a lot of things. So it's a very, very fun, interesting conversation. At least I thought so. I had a really good time, and hopefully so did Ed, our guest. So, but let's keep talking about the creative team for this book. This is with art by Rafa Labosco, Roshan Curiciani on colors. Apologies if I mispronounced that. And Jeff Eckleberry on letters, with a really cool cover. The main cover is by Felipe Masafera. So there's this is a Dynamite book. Of course, there's a plethora of covers that you'll be able to see, and of course, this is a Thundercats book. You're gonna see a lot of covers because I feel like this is one of those assignments that a lot of these people maybe receive, and they're like, "I want to do a cover for that. I want to do a cover for that." Right? So let's talk about what is this book all about. After being shot down in the middle of a war zone, five Thundera warriors are fighting for their lives. Together, they face a horde of heavily armored soldiers, and the team's only hope is to somehow break through their lines and reach the wreckage of their ship. Such overwhelming odds will strain their abilities to the absolute limit, but even if Pumera, Linkso, Shen, Ligon, and their hammer wielding commander Bengali make it out alive, will they still be able to complete their mission? And even more important, who's this mysterious antagonist who is hunting them, and what is their connection to the Book of Omens? That's right. This is a really really cool idea. From what Ed Brisson told us in during the chat, this takes place at a different time from the main series, but it's all eventually kind of come together. It's all connected in a very Thundercats kind of way. Some of these are characters that already existed in the Thundercats lore, but a couple of these were made specifically for this book. So you don't want to miss out on some of these first appearances as well. I think speaking of that, Rafa Lobosco does such a good job just adapting the world of these Thundercats as they fight. They are in the fight of their lives, and you can really see that reflected in the art. All these characters have their own very specific personalities, and they are befallen by tragedy immediately in this issue. I won't go into any spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything, but you can see some of the art throughout the video as the previews kind of go on. But there's also some really fun interactions. There's a lot of really cool action because if Ed Brisson can do anything, is just give us a really cool, badass story, and that's exactly what you get in this one. These characters, because they are based on these 80s cartoons, they just go all out to the max. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate that they are not trying to change the tone or change the feel of this. It is just being adapted into the different world and the different media of comic books. But the book continues to be just as outrageous and bonkers as you would expect a Thundercats book to be. But of course, I feel like this matches very well with the main Thundercat series, at least as far as the tone. I am not caught up with the Thundercat series, but I did read the Apex one shot, which is also written by Brisson. And in the interview, we go into a little bit more of how that fits into his book and the main Thundercats book, and even the Chitara, whose collection is coming out this week as well. So make sure to grab that up if you are looking for more Thundercats. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I really had a great time talking to the writer Ed Brisson here. So this leaves in a very fun kind of cliffhangery way with everything in chaos. So I'm very excited to get to the next one and figure out where we're gonna go from here. So highly recommend you check out Thundercats Lost, especially if you're a fan of the old cartoons. Like this really feels like we're gonna make Thundercats for the same audience that was watching them back in the day, but also to include a new audience and bring more people into the world of Thundera and Third Earth, and then figure out the mystery of the Book of Omens here. So. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Bug Wars number 2. This is the book from Image Comics, book 1, Lost in the Yard. So this book, I think this series is scheduled to be 6 issues, but I feel like this is just a first part of a much larger story. If you missed that first issue, the premise of this book is a family moves into the Slade family moves into a house, and one of the kids that we follow through here in the story is taken into this world where it's full of like this bugs that are in the middle of like war, right? But this is all happening in his yard. It's kind of like Honey, I mean Shrunk the Kids situation where like there's this whole gigantic world just happening in the back, in your own backyard. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Mahmoud Assar, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by Becca Carey. This second issue, I wanted to do a follow up to the first issue because I want you to understand that this series is going all out bonkers on this concept. I love how much Jason Aaron is leaning into like, I guess they're not really bug puns, but everything is just so bug themed. Like when the dialogue that uh, the characters here are having, because they are all bugs, it's all very much like bug centric and bug related. I think it's really funny. We get to see magical aspect to this book that it's not really fully explained, but we know that it's gonna add an interesting layer to this as we kind of follow Slade and his family here. Um, but he's also in a lot of trouble because he can't control this. He can't control whatever's happening to him. His brother's worried about him, and he's kind of stuck in this really cool world, which Mahmoud Assar is drawing the hell out of it. Like just the level of detail that it goes into every page. There's like little inside jokes. There's just like exploration of like the world's the hobbies, the religions, like a little bit of just what these people do in their spare time in this war that's going on. And then of course you have everyone looks very different because they're all different types of bugs. They're all different types of creatures that are you see here. So if you like a fantasy kind of almost isekai aspect to this of like being transported to another world, I think you're gonna enjoy this. I find the threat in this second issue really funny because it's something that you would think is not something that would be a threatening to a regular person in the regular world. But when you shrink down and when you are that little and when you're part of this bug ecosystem in this bug world, that then it can be a very big threat. So I really like this book. I'm really enjoying it. I think the team is having a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to continue to read it. I'm going to do one more monthly, and then from there I'll figure out if I want to keep reading monthly or if I want to check it out. Once the 6 issues for this first part of the story are done. So well, we're gonna talk about one more comic book, one that hasn't come out,
Bum, bum,
but
bum.
we got a chance from our friends from Oni Press to read. It is Out of Alcatraz #1. It's written by Christopher Canwell with art by Tyler Crook, and it follows convicts Frank Morris and Clarence Anglin, who have washed ashore in San Francisco after surviving their infamous escape from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in June of 1962. I have questions for you guys about that in a second.
The
They soon meet
Rock.
their gruff and disappointed handler, a mysterious young woman who's also running from something, and hope to quickly get their way north to the border, if they can even make it out of Modesto alive. As a dog, as a dog federal manhunt and chance encounters threaten their desperate convicts, everyone involved is about to discover the same bloodstained truth. Life on the run is an even more hellish prison than Alcatraz could have ever been. Um, we're gonna start. Josh, initial thoughts on Out of Alcatraz #1.
I really liked it. It was actually, I think, a lot better than I expected. I do believe the premise of the story is based on a real event.
Okay,
I
that
think
was my question.
yeah, I don't know about like the fourth guy left behind that they mentioned, but I do know 3 people escaped and were never found. But it was really good. I mean, just as a crime book, I thought it was fantastic. I know Tyler Crook from what was that Dark Horse series he did?
4 kids walk into a bank. Is that it?
No, there was that one, but then he did one with like it was it had crows in it. Anyway, never mind. That helps no one.
Okay.
Yeah,
The Crow.
The Crow. Yeah, exactly.
Crows.
I love that movie. No, it but yeah, it was great. It's
the Lonesome Hunt.
Lonesome
Lonesome
Hunters. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Which I think he wrote and drew.
I think we did that on the show for the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah. But anyway, it was great. It's a really tightly told story that just leaves you with just enough mystery that you're like, what the hell is going on, right?
Mhm.
I do question getting from Modesto, California to Maine, which is, I think, where they're going, right? Like, isn't that the ultimate location?
The premise, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but no, it's great. I am hooked. I cannot wait for issue 2. So
Nice. Jeff, what did you think of Out of Alcatraz?
Yeah, I really thought it was really good too. It's a period piece, so that makes it cool too, because it happens in like whatever the 60s or something.
yeah.
So there's that kind of added element to when you're on the run from the law, where you're like, if you were to try it today, it'd be a lot harder because there's cameras everywhere and stuff. So, but now you're kind of like, well, nobody knows who anybody is. You're a small town, But it kind of reminded me a little of what was that Finding Oswald's Body or something that came out a couple of years ago
Well, I
regarding
was going to
that
mention that
Finding
because
Oswald.
that's also a Christopher Campbell book.
Oh,
Is
So
it? Oh, okay.
I think he likes to have fun with historical moments, and then kind of like expand the like a possible lore.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very fun. So yeah, I'm
We
glad
get
you brought
our
that up.
DB Cooper comic from him then. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a very tight what written story, and it ends on kind of the cliffhanger where you're like, oh, definitely hooks you.
Yeah.
Let's keep going
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I agree. I also really enjoyed it. I liked just the premise itself seemed fun, like just to follow the people that are getting out of Alcatraz. Is there a Clint Eastwood movie where he escapes Alcatraz? Am I thinking of the right person?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's something like that. Yeah, I know what you're thinking of. I don't
Okay.
remember what it's called.
Which I've always wanted
Yeah.
to watch because I find I find Alcatraz very interesting.
I mean, you only
Just
need to watch The Rock. The Rock is the only Alcatraz
Right.
movie worth
The
watching.
Rock is
just
the only
need
one.
Nicolas Cage with his long curls blowing in the wind, and
Mhm.
you're good. You're set. That is the perfect description of this comic.
Yeah, I guess so. It could be. Now, I'm also a pretty big fan of Canwell just because I really like *Halt and Catch Fire*. That was a really,
Oh,
really
Yeah.
the
that's his show.
series?
Mhm.
I didn't know he did that. That is a great series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And he did one of my favorite runs of Doom. And so I've been kind of following like any book and he did Plastic Man No More, which I think both of us really
Oh, he
enjoyed, right,
did.
George?
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
And I did
Yeah.
like that.
And then
Even though it was dark as shit.
yeah, yeah, very much so. I mean, this book deals with a lot of dark themes as well.
Yeah, sure.
Which is I like, especially as you get through the book and things kind of escalate. I feel like the tension itself mounts very in a very fun way, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, maybe now because you think about it, like it's the '60s. Like I don't know, how do you even find someone back then? Like I
Yeah.
can't even fathom what like you escape from prison. Like that's it. You're like other than word of mouth. Like as long as you're
Right.
being careful and laying low, like how do you even find anyone ever? Right? There's been cases of people like that just kind of led completely separate lives as other people. Because back then you could just probably become someone else completely. Unless
Yeah.
so I like
That's
the
kind of
conflict.
what I felt like while reading it. I'm like, once you've gotten off the island, then what?
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
talk a
like,
little bit about, because the police do kind of come back in and they're like, well, we, XYZ, no spoilers, but like, so there are like small ways where they can be like, oh, we think something might be going on, but you're right. There's like no definitive, like nobody has GPS. Nobody has like
I mean,
OnStar in their cars or anything like
right,
that,
no one has camera phones to like check, like, is this like I don't know.
Right.
But what I think is also because I had that same thought, but then I was thinking about the fact that I'm like, why are they going through all this stuff because of a deal, right? Like if I were them, be like, all right, now we just go into hiding, like go our separate ways. We won't be found.
That's
but
what I'm
there's
interested. Like,
yeah, exactly.
what is that deal? What are they fully getting at? Like, because to me, it's like, are they getting a new identity after whatever
Right.
after they deliver on their part or like something like that? There's also conflict because, like we said, 3 guys attempted to escape, but only 2 made it on land. So yeah, I really think it's a fun concept, which looks great. Tyler Crook, like the art is just fantastic.
Beautiful.
It very feels of that period, right?
Yeah.
Like whether you go to they go to like a bar in one scene, they go to like a little convenience store or like a little convenience store. Even just seeing the candy drawn and all that stuff.
Yeah, the whole wall of like just product that he's staring at is really cool.
And then of course this conflict like with this handler and how they're gonna what they're gonna have to do and how they're gonna come back. So yeah, it's very good. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad we got a chance to read it. It looks like it's only 3 issues and then they'll collect that into a trade. But they're 3 big issues. They're like 48 pages each. It was a long read.
It didn't feel long.
Right.
To me at least. Like I blew through it and I was actually kind of shocked to look at the page count and go like, oh my God, it's 44 pages. So
this to me does feel like something that was pitched as like a fully original thing. And then they're like, oh, we have to cut it up into pieces.
Right. Yeah.
We have to cut it up into pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last thoughts on Out of Alcatraz #1? Well, I will say if you like this book and you like Christopher Canwell and you want to check out something that's more like a fairy tale, he has a book called Briar from Boom Studios, which is a retelling of the Sleeping Beauty story. But it's very cool. Like it's a way twist on that. So forget Snow White live action coming out next week. Just go check out Briar instead, or watch the original Snow White. That's probably a better choice. So, okay.